wipe.
Hello Waffle Maniacs and welcome back to the all too humid Waffle Shed, where today I'll be rounding up the meddling, the madness, the melancholic melodrama and maniacal machinations that marked out Mayhem as May's must-see wrestle meet. I'll be bringing you the insights and results of all 6 stellar contests, as well as an update on how the results have affected the Waffle Stat standings, plus May's WO Monthly Award, and a look ahead to United Wrestling's return to the tap for insert name. Just what you'd expect from a good old waffle, but this isn't just standard waffling, this is professional waffling. So there's no better place to start the rundown than with the return of the most professional wrestler to United Wrestling. We were posed a conundrum at Held Together by Tape. How do you stop the king of monsters? The colossal kaiju Liam McCarthy is not easily constrained, or it seems tied down to a single roster. He's so damn big, he's 2 of your favourite wrestlers. And it seems each of the United GMs has signed one of those. So Liam goes where Liam goes. I mean, who's going to tell him otherwise? What do you do when even the combined forces of Hell and HR can't stop this Goliath? You do what the mayor of Amity Island did to rid himself of that pesky fish and call in a professional. Well, most of one anyway. That's right, returning to the United fold was the professional wrestler Bart O'Connor. The new spleen-free BOC was back at the Double Barrel Brewery, this time within the confines of the squared circle, to prove that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And when they do fall, the most professional place to be is anywhere but underneath them. And bigger? Well, we've been advised by none other than the King Kaiju himself that he has mega evolved. Billed as £300, he now claims to tip the scales at 360. Is it any wonder that Bart's initial attempts to fell the big fella were akin to him running into a brick wall, or being thrown by a brick wall, or slammed by a brick wall, or cross-bodied by a brick wall for that matter? Taking a professional pause for life choice reassessment and encyclopedic internalised professional playbook review, O'Connor changed tack. Playing professional possum, he lured Liam to daring new heights, from which he superplexed the Goliath across the ring and nearly back to Oxford. He then finished the job with a future endeavour slam and a professional swanton for good measure, for a colossal win. And what next for these 2 big men? Liam will no doubt be back soon, surfacing from the ocean or a massive crack in the ground, as is his wont. And perhaps Bart, having showed everyone that with the right attitude, application and professional comportment, you can overcome the odds even when they all seem stacked against you, can assist Reading's very own scurvy mayor with a particular problem that he has. Match 2 saw 2 United stalwarts, whose careers seem to be on very different trajectories, go head-to-head, not for the first time, with the biggest and baddest of the United 6 finally facing off. The backbreaker Nero Toxin is very much on the rise, unstoppable in singles competition and on her way to the summit, whilst the icon of sin MJ Grayson seems to be sinking further and further from the peak of his powers. That had seen him as the last outright Phantomweight champion. Since ceding the PW belt to Scotty Rawk in their trilogy bout, having also lost the previous 2 encounters, it should be noted, but retaining the belt on technicalities, things have got even worse for MJ. The loss of his title being followed by a shock defeat to the undead Chris Angel, making him the first and only opponent who's failed to unalive the Heaven Sent One. And now it seems he's even lost his shoes, as he turned up to this contest barefooted. I know he's spinning the line that it's a martial arts thing. I have a few ideas about what's going on here. Were they stolen? Maybe. Has he had to pawn them or sell them on Vinted? Yeah, not likely, I have checked. Nah, I think this is a new side hustle for the beast from the Black Country. A certain man from Baldock wised me up that there's money to be made through subscribers who have a fancy for a foot. And far be it from me to curb the potential for anyone to make a little extra cash selling photos or videos. So this match review will occur in WO-Rama, allowing MJG to keep the lucrative footage for his own ends. Grayson got plenty of offense in during the bout, repeatedly targeting the leg of Toxin and looking like he was going to end the backbreaker streak, but he just couldn't get the 3 count. In response, Toxin repeatedly showed Grayson her souls, even as his seemingly barely left his body. Eventually, Nero hot-footed her way to victory with a spinal seizure and maintained her quest to hold United Gold and claim the even more lucrative WO Queen of the Ding title. More of which later. And Grayson? Well, following this match, there have been further mentions on social media of exciting new ventures. No details yet, but perhaps he'll be dipping those sinful toes into a whole new paywall-protected enterprise. The captain, our captain of the good ship DBB Arthur Scarrow, has a self-appointed mission to save his brother Chris Aries from the madness that currently grips him, which the GM sees as 100% correlated to the belt that transfixes him. Using his powers as Reading GM, Scarrow is booking Aries against the very best he can find from across the British Isles to end both the current United Wrestling World Heavyweight Champions reign and, he hopes, their brotherly estrangement. Now, I for one am not sure that those two things necessarily go hand in hand, but I'm all in to enjoy the ride, with both top-tier talent and torment for Aries guaranteed each time. At Mayhem, Scarrow lined up none other than the beautiful bruiser Molly Spartan as the Legion King's next opponent, with Spartan promising beforehand to triumph and ensure that United Wrestling no longer had a wee fanny as their champion. Also unexpectedly lined up by Scarrow was guest commentary by the Mutts Nuts, with the presence of Scotty Rawk, a man refused a title tilt by the champion, at ringside raising the ire of Aries. Could this combination finally prove strong enough to sever the unbreakable bond between the Odyssean and the biggest prize at United? It's set on all sides. Aries fell back on his armoury of antagonism, annoying and bad-mouthing everyone from the outset and using underhand tactics out of sight of authority to rile Molly early on. Fighting back, Molly took a swing at her aggressor before composing herself and taking Aries for a spin. Since taking back his title, this new Aries avoids conflict and spectacle as much as possible. He'd sooner run away than face up to a challenge, a tactic he definitely seems to be making work for him. With champion's advantage, there can be no loss by count-out or DQ, so he's abandoned his crowd-pleasing ways, and by his own admission, is doing the bare minimum. Aries and the bout repeatedly spilled out of the ring, and the conflict finally found its way to the bar, where Aries used this and the sacred altar of Cookie Man to stop Spartan's onslaught in its tracks and retain via count-out. Post-bout celebrations and brotherly berations left the champion distracted, and so he missed the arrival of Molly back into the ring, where she gleefully and popularly took just a small amount of revenge for her loss. Here's hoping the GMs are listening to the demands of the crowd, and that we'll see a much-deserved rematch for the Glaswegian powerhouse very soon at United. She may not have left with the belt on this occasion, but with her ovation ringing in her ears, she left a clear message as to who she sees as the rightful holder of United's biggest prize. Don't you just love to be right? We have this one marked down as an early contender for Match of the Year. No pressure, guys. Yes, this contest delivered on all expectations, with the hot property, all-day hustle Danny Isit making his singles debut at United and taking the dog spot of Scotty Rawk to his very limit and beyond. In a no-holds-barred, no quarter given, no hand unbitten, beat down, drag out, gut-busting spectacular that had the crowd both speechless and in raptures in equal measures, if that's possible. Very few in the UK or even the world can hope to go toe-to-toe with Scotty in his current form, but that's exactly what Danny Isit did as the spectacular second half of Mayhem got underway. This grueling bout was a feast for the senses and one for the ages, with Scotty's patented chin check being the only difference between these two gladiators, and proving one thing beyond doubt: we are currently in a new golden age of British wrestling. The current United roster contains names: Scotty Rawk, Danny Isit, Chris Aries, Nero Toxin, even Tony Kyle, that in decades to come will be uttered in the same breath as those of Tom Billington, Mark Rocco, Johnny Saint, Marty Jones, and Les Kellett. The world is again taking notice, with alumni like Mariah May, Harley Hudson, and Rain Leverkusen rightfully taking their places on the biggest stages. It seems only a matter of time before these hallowed isles are duly recognised as the home of the absolute pinnacle of global wrestling talent, with the United Wrestling roster standing at its core. As one of the pantheon, Scotty Rawk may have the world at his feet, but it's the world champion that he wants to see beneath his feet for a 3 count more than anything else. Upon taking the victory and the announcer's microphone, the Lost Boy demanded Aries' music be played, and that Public Enemy #1 come down from his lofty perch and parley with the man of the people in front of the crowd that Rawk brought. Aries dutifully appeared, not to offer plaudits, but rather a rebuttal. United is the house that Ares, not the bollocks, built. A house built on foundations, yeah, but not those two, laid by the graft of the Odyssey, from a fledgling flock to the current throng. A house of champions, namely himself, and if Scotty wants to lay claim to the territory and a tilt at his title, he will have to do so with gold in hand again. Regain the absolute title, offer that up, and there may be a chance at the big prize. To which Scotty retorted with a simple message.
Stick that belt where the sun don't shine so hard. Keep it nice and warm for me, because the bollocks is coming for it all.
Game on. What is it with tag team wrestling these days? Maybe I have a short memory, but this used to be a place for sportsmanship and endeavour. The Dogs Bollocks, the Row Bros, even Artemis and her tag partner brought a sense of occasion and respect to the pursuit, and now we seem to be overrun with ne'er-do-wells and rule breakers at every turn. Whilst the first-class flyers Durcio and Malachi arrived at Reading, looking to continue the legacy of excellence I mentioned, their opponents, Black and Gold, brought only a second-rate attitude to the venue, much as the Killers, Strong Dads, and current tag champions the Foundation have previously. Any hopes that the presence of Lincoln Spectre would act to correct the bad behaviour exhibited previously by Black and Gold teammate Denzel Mack were immediately dispelled, with Spectre and Mack wading into and provoking the audience before jumping their opponents pre-bell. Ref Katie has proved herself time and again to be a fearsome 5 feet of feudal authority that even she couldn't contain the turmoil, outright misbehaviour, and general mayhem. I guess we asked for that really. That the penultimate bout of the evening brawl, Denzel showed strength and ill manners all at the same time, flipping off the crowd when he could have been earning acclaim, and Spectre seemed intent to spend as much time throwing people's belongings around as he did his opponents. The Flyers soared and were every bit as first class as was predicted, and it was sadly bad attitude over high altitude that won out in the end. At present, it appears the United Wrestling Tag Division is proving it's not just the cream that rises to the top. Other things float too. "224 days. 224 days since the Firestarter Kai Payne cashed in his future-proof title and then fell before the hatchet Mark Haskins. 224 days. A period during which the Legion King Chris Aries has gone from hero to Nero. 224 days during which every United Wrestling title has changed hands. And now time for the future-proof championship to follow suit. The Mayhem main event was a 4-way elimination match, pitting 3 qualifiers and 1 wildcard against one another for the right to follow in the footsteps of the greats and seize the most lucrative cash-in prize in British wrestling. February's first live event saw the indomitable Violent Nyte, the Slam King Dave Bavarra, and the Super Beast Liam Jones each win their qualifying matches and book their places in this final, while skulking in through a loophole was the superlative Samuelson Daniels, representing the United Oxford roster. The future-proof title may have been on hiatus for 8 months, but this match showed why the wait was well worth it. Each young talent on display belied their years and shone brightly, proving that whoever the ultimate victor, they are each, in future, destined to join the pantheon of BritWres greats. In an instant classic, it was ultimately the Super Beast Liam Jones who continued his immaculate run in Reading to claim the prize, but no one left empty-handed. Nyte earned plaudits and a raft of new fans for her incredible performance. Bavarra took a modicum of revenge for this and previous defeats as he meted out his own brand of justice to Jones and seems intent on a rematch. And Samuelson Daniels got a face full of green mist, courtesy of the new future-proof champion Liam Jones. We've seen before that the future-proof title is not always the treasure it seems, with only one successful cash-in and a slew of missed opportunities through injury and match-based misfortunes, meaning many have seen this as a cursed prize. So Jones was no doubt happy to see that his new title has had an upgrade, but one that marks a harder path to the top than in the past. Previously, the future-proof champion could cash in at any time, but now it's not that simple. It's still a ticket to the big time, but a ticket that has to be punched, with 6 victories to fulfill destiny and lift a World Heavyweight Championship. That's a challenge that Jones has accepted with relish. But that is not all that's on the horizon, folks. Punk Rock Wrestling returns to Oxford as United Wrestling presents Insert Name. GM TJ Lee promised you some surprises, and he has delivered, with more debuts, multi-person bouts, and massive returns stacked high for your grappling gratification. We're back at the Tap Social, so that means we're back at the home of the Taproom Trials. Our first round of matches saw the world's worst accent Abigail and the alternative Robbie Taylor score big wins and push themselves to the top of the Taproom table. Now they will face each other one-on-one and attempt to further their lead in the league and take a massive step towards the title. Could we already be seeing a title decider on night 2 of the tournament in a matchup that has the fan base hot with anticipation? Someone who'll be watching that match with interest is another of the Taproom trialists, Armina Lily. With her scheduled opponent Charlie Jameson unable to compete at Insert Name, Lily is no longer constrained by tournament rules and is looking to vent her rage as she offers an open challenge. I advise anyone contemplating that offer to take a look at the devastation wrought last time out in her royally ritualistic ruination of the Robbie Taylor, and ask yourself if you're brave enough, or insane enough, or a mixture of the two, to step up to the Moss King. If the answer is yes, then I wish you luck, you nutter. There's so much on the line as Absolute Champion Tig extends his promised rematch to former title holder Scotty Rawk. The man of culture has proved he's no easy target, with a wealth of world experience to call on to help him retain. But Scotty knows that victory for him would get not only the attention of Chris Aries, but also a potential shot at the World Heavyweight title. But wait, life's never that simple, even if the foundations are. There's another flyboy in the ointment, not a pilot. This match will be a three-way contest, with Tony Kyle added to the mix. Will the Absolute Maverick continue to do Aries' dirty work, become the absolute Maverick, and shatter Rawk's dreams? One thing is for certain. Once the dust settles, one man will stand tall, whilst the plans of the other two will lay in tatters. Finally, the Foundation have deemed to show their faces again. 4 months on from their surprise victory over the Road Bros, United Wrestling Tag Team Champions will make their first defence as they welcome challengers EM0. I say welcome. Rex Armstrong has promised not to simply break his opponents, as previously, but this time to eat the hearts of Ted Sabin and Jack Landers directly from their chests. Best of luck with that, Rex. I have a feeling it won't be your opponents, but rather humble pie that you'll be dining on, as you and Sefton commiserate the shortest tag team title reign in United Wrestling history come Sunday night. Can Samuel St. Daniels
wipe
away the pain of a second defeat in as many bouts, as well as the stain of the green mist that cost him a future-proof title reign? Or will his threatened legal action against United Wrestling mean this match is a non-starter? Suing your employers may be reckless, but not as reckless as SSD's scheduled opponent at Insert Name, with Callie Gray stepping through the ropes and stepping up the pressure on the superlative yet winless St. Daniels. Gray comes with an extensive back catalogue of titles and accolades, so 0-3 for SSD seems a likely outcome, and the big belt returns to the tap. On hiatus held together by tape, the United Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion Chris Aries is back and facing a huge obstacle to his continuing mad reign. Tej has further upped the ante. Title challenges do not come much bigger than this. After 6 years away, around the time the Foundation last competed, and bringing the hustle to United Wrestling, we have the return of Sid Scala. Savvy punters see short odds on a change at the top, and a new name being inserted on the World Heavyweight Championship at United Wrestling. Insert Name. You do not want to miss this one. Make sure you insert your name on the guest list.
Ding, 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 it's time for Waffle Stats. Ding, ding, ding.
That horrendous tune can mean only one thing. It's time to dig deep into the data, to crunch the bone-crunching numbers, and to deliver a post-Mayhem missive of wonderful Waffle Stats, with a massive WO May monthly award to dole out. So we'll start with some quick-fire stats. The first one's a superlative one. 2026 has started out as a record-breaking year for Samuel St. Daniels, but not a record that'll have anyone green with envy. 2 matches into his United Wrestling career, he has 2 pinfalls to his name, and 0 victories. We've had losing streaks before, but none this successful. The World Heavyweight Champion continues his international journey. In the past 12 months, Chris Aries has faced all comers, defeating top challengers from England, Wales, and Scotland, meaning he's halfway through the Six Nations. With Tej and Scarro's overseas connections, there's no limit to the nationalities of potential challengers for the big crowd. Okay, so there is a limit. 3 down, 192 to go. But not before Scotland gets a deserved run back, right? Another title holder on a global mission is our new future-proof champion. But this stat is for accolades closer to home. home, Liam Jones has found a second home at United Reading, scoring his 8th victory there from 8 attempts. With that kind of record, the World Heavyweight Champion, whoever that is, has to hope they can face the Super Beast anywhere but the Ding, if and when the Super Beast hits his 6 FP wins. But how has February's tabletop fared in the eyes of the Waffle statisticians? Surprisingly, despite getting the big win, the Big Beast has slipped down the Waffle stat standings and his quest to be 2026's King of the Ding. Still on 2 victories, Jones is somehow down to 3rd place, with both the Backbreaker and Legion King matching Liam's result and leapfrogging him via win efficiency quotients. Yeah, I know, don't ask me. We have a new entry at number 4 with an unsurprisingly professional performance from Bart O'Connor, catapulting him high in the standings above the shockingly static foundation. It seems avoiding conflict has its benefits after all. Down from previous heady heights, both Violet Knight and Dave Bavarra have dropped in the standings following their losses in the future-proof 4-way. They're still in the top 7 and will no doubt make their way back to the summit with victories in the next round of Reading bouts, unless they're targeting a rematch with Jones, that is. Reading's Wrestling Royalty Award won't be decided until the end of the year, so there'll likely be more reshuffles before then, but award not up for grabs again in 2026 is the Darling Thugs of May, with the biggest blows of the month being scrutinised and guest judged by my very own darling, Mrs. Hicksy. Thug 5. Thug 4. Thug 3. Thug 2. Thug 1. That's right, there's no topping her, even if there is stopping her. Spartan's volley of thuds to the world champion gets Quig's seal of approval, and Molly May's WO award. And so we're done for another Waffle. Insert name is nearly upon us. I hope I'll see you there. Otherwise, I'll see you back here next time for the full rundown on the latest chapter of punk rock wrestling from the tap, as well as looking ahead to what's up next in Reading, and hopefully with news of a massive announcement teased by United Wrestling Management. This is the Waffle Shed. I've been Hicksy. He's behaved himself for once. SITKWTWO.